Coming up next, more detractor content and after that Dragon Ball Z, only on Toonami.
I'd like to directly address what happened yesterday with Fallout 4, shall we? So as you know, I started playing Fallout 4 almost 2 weeks ago now, because number one, the TV show had hit at Prime Video, and in 1 week it was one of the biggest, viewed things they had ever done over there. It was the second most viewed, the second most viewed show ever on Prime Video. In addition, Fallout Mania had hit the internet. Everyone was dying to talk about and play some Fallout games. And so there were ginormous spikes in attention on games like Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. And basically because of that, people were interested in seeing me play a Fallout game. Number two, I haven't played Fallout 4 in 9 years. I only played it as a new release. And because they had decided to release a next-gen update patch that made the game apparently be improved, so I'm enjoying it. And the audience has been too. As you know, Part 1 actually hit the YouTube algorithm, got over 30,000 views and climbing as of now. And this affected the first few parts of the playthrough that all got inflated views, which was a nice change from the stuff on this channel that usually views are not so good, unless it's a hot new release. And I've been having a good time with it. Now, every time that I've played it, we've had good viewership, good engagement, good support. Overall, the streams have all done quite well. And so I was happy that I made this decision. Like, oh, good timely decision. People are liking it. This is excellent. Just keep it in the rotation, right? Well, yesterday I went to play it, and this is no different from any other day. I would say attendance was decent. We still had over 400 viewers the entire stream, which is good for any daytime stream that's not a new release. It's actually pretty good. And then engagement. Well, I would say half the audience that attends Fallout 4 is engaged. They're talking about the game. They're having a good time. But sadly, the other half is kind of disengaging now. And I don't know if that's just the fact that we're 14 hours in, or that maybe Fallout Mania has ended and people aren't that excited for Fallout content anymore. This is not a new game. This is a game that's 9 years old, right? I don't know, right? I can't figure out why people would be engaged. I'm trying to engage with the audience. I'm talking with people who were there. I'm answering questions. We're having a conversation, but it's definitely way, way less than the people that were there at the beginning when people were like hyped at the beginning. Now it's kind of like, meh, it's just another playthrough, right? In addition, support yesterday was not great at all right? First of all, thankfully, there were gifted memberships at the beginning of the stream. If that hadn't happened, it actually would have been an incredibly slow stream. Both super chats and tips were very, very low. And it's like, I don't know what happened, because every other Fallout stream we'd done up to that point actually had done well. There were people showing up, engaging, and supporting. It was like something changed out of nowhere. It certainly wasn't me. I'm the same guy. I'm doing the same kind of gameplay. It's certainly not the game. It's the same game. That didn't change. So what changed, And so we talked about it a bit, and I think what it probably is that the hype has died down for Fallout now, right? For a week, 2 weeks, everyone was talking about Fallout as they watched the show. Well, guess what happened? Everyone watched the show. Everyone ran to play a legacy game because there are no new Fallout games now. And because there's no new Fallout games, there's nothing to talk about, and the hype has died. Bethesda has literally ruined their own hype because they are so inept as a game development studio now. They had absolutely no products to offer anyone. No one wants to continuously play Fallout 76. A lot of people jumped in, played it for a week, dropped it. And Fallout 4 is a fine game, but it's 9 years old. This would have been the absolute perfect time for them to have a new game out. But instead, they had to work on Starfield and put that out last year, and that fucking flopped. Even though they won't publicly admit it, Starfield flopped, okay? It did not live up to expectations. It did not sell as well as they had hoped. Here we are, 8 months into its life cycle. They're finally giving it its first major patch to make it run well. I mean, what a fucking joke. That game is a humongous disappointment among the community. Yeah, there's a few fanboys who are loud about it, but for the most part, it was just a humongous problem that they took that much time and hyped up that game so much, right? It's just absolutely ridiculous that they did that and put all their eggs in that basket, and then it comes out and sucks. And it's like, so now what? Because Elder Scrolls is many years out. You don't even have a Fallout game cooking yet. What did you do? You completely dropped the ball. Like, I gotta ask the question, why even release the Fallout TV series now? What was the point? They literally had nothing to gain from it because they can't do anything with it. It didn't make any sense that they did that. It's complete mismanagement of that fucking IP and of the studio itself. Todd Howard has no idea what he's doing anymore. I hate to say it, he's just become out of touch, out of date. He's a dinosaur. He needs to stop being in charge of the studio because he's making bad decision after bad decision. So, yeah, it's pretty bad, right? And in my opinion, I think that's what's happening here, is there was hype for Fallout for that first week. Everyone was excited to see me play Fallout again because it's been many years. It's been about 3 years since I played a Fallout game. And to see me go back to a game I only played once, This time around, it looks so much better than the first playthrough because now it's full 60 frames, better graphics and everything. And in addition to that, a totally different kind of build that I've never done before. It's neat, right? But I think a lot of people, that hype already died and they're gone. They want something else. And I hate to say it, this is just something now that has happened in gaming. Because in gaming, what used to happen was that we had big hyped games, AAA, big releases that everyone knew were going to be good. They would come out and everyone would be excited for them. They'd come and watch the premieres of the playthroughs. They'd come and watch the later parts of the playthroughs. In general, people loved that hype. But what has happened is that in the last couple of years, the big games coming out aren't good anymore. They deflate. They're disappointing. And the games that end up being great are indie darlings, but they only last a few weeks and then they die out in popularity. So what's ended up happening is all of gaming as a whole, the entire community is now programmed to think everything is only interesting for a week or two. Then they're on to the next. Even if you're playing a lengthy game, you better rush and beat that game in 2 weeks. Because if you didn't, no one cares about it anymore. Don't want to see any more of it. Right? It's like, geez. So as a streamer or a content creator, how am I supposed to be able to play a game that's longer than, say, 20 hours? Right? Because now we're at the 14-hour point of Fallout 4. We're not even 2 weeks into playing it yet. And already there's a giant drop-off. And it's like, so how am I ever going to play a lengthy game again? If people have now been, again, programmed, or it's become commonplace to just think you play a game for a week or two, you drop it, because that's what indie games are. Indie games don't have substance. They're short, but that's fine. They can still be amazing gameplay experiences, but they're short because the studios are smaller. They don't have a big budget. They don't have a giant development team. So it's smaller, more digestible experiences that are still fun. That's great. But if everyone just thinks, dude, every game should be 1 week and then you go to the next, how do you ever retain an audience? How do you ever get interest in any game ever? Right? It's especially the kind of games that I like to play. You guys know, a lot of these games that I play are longer experiences, narrative-based experiences. How do you get people coming back for that? If they're just going to say, it's been a week, on to the next. On to the next what? There's nothing else. There's literally nothing else right now. So what do you want? I don't know what you're asking for, right?
So, of course, in this video, DSP is still gloating over his clickbait first entry in his Fallout 4 playthrough, where he clickbaited a bunch of people into checking out the first episode and then had an immediate fall off of the subsequent episodes. And I think he said the retention rate was like 40 seconds on like an hour-long video. It's not the flex that he thinks it is, and he really needs to stop bringing it up, because it's laughable every time, knowing what his analytics were on it. If we actually talk about like this hype that he keeps describing, like, yes, the Fallout show brought a lot more eyes maybe to the Fallout series or franchise that may not have been interested in it, or may have had some time pass since they last played it, and it kind of revitalized the franchise. All games, I believe, were discounted on Steam. Fallout 4, 3 New Vegas, maybe even 1, 2 in Tactics. And some people were actually playing 76. They were giving away 76 for free if you were a Prime member as well. Would it have made sense for them to have a game drop to coincide with the TV show? I mean, probably, yeah. But I think what Phil continuously forgets is that Fallout 76 is designed to be a live service game. If they can garner more attention for it, which they did, because I believe they said that there was a huge increase in players for Fallout 76. If they can garner more attention for Fallout 76, it's a win for them. They don't need to drop a new game if people who may not have tried Fallout 76 initially, or maybe tried it when it was like before it got patched and they added a bunch of content to it. If all those players then go, oh, well, let me try Fallout 76, I have Prime or whatever, it's super discounted now, let me actually try it. This is technically a new experience for all of those players. So, I mean, I'm not a fan of 76. I played it, I didn't enjoy it, but if more players are playing and more players then decide to stick around after the fact, it's a win for Bethesda from a like corporate viewpoint. But because DSP is the biggest consumer in the world, if there's no new item to purchase, it's obviously a failed venture. His little rant about Starfield, I mean, it's kind of unnecessary. It has nothing really to do with the Fallout series or his viewers, his streams at all. I haven't played Starfield. I know a lot of people don't like it. I'm not here to defend or not defend it. I don't really care. It's irrelevant to his stream because he's not playing it. It's irrelevant to his Fallout playthrough. Starfield and Fallout, 2 completely different games, in theory. But, obviously DSP being a giant piece of crap, loving to dunk on companies when they can, taking shots at Bethesda, and then somehow expecting them also to have a game in the backup because of Starfield's failure. Like, doesn't he criticize Nintendo for releasing amiibos during the Wii U's failure? That they had them like as a backup plan, as a contingency plan. So Bethesda was supposed to do the same thing with a new Fallout game as a contingency plan in case Starfield flopped. I don't understand the logic. I mean, I don't work for a developer, so I assume projects take a couple years and you're not working on multiple projects in tandem, like at the same time, so they're at the same level. Probably once Starfield started to wrap, they then moved on to Elder Scrolls, which we know has been announced. And because they generally work at one game at a time, or release one game at a time, Fallout wasn't really in their pipeline. And because there was nothing in the pipeline, why not release a TV show to kind of keep the Fallout brand in people's minds, exposing it to potentially new customers, making old customers feel nostalgic about either Fallout 3 or New Vegas or 4 or wherever the hell they started playing in the series. It's supplemental. It's another thing that they can have out there for the franchise. They probably made money off of it from Amazon. There's probably some sort of partnership deal. It was a business dealing and another nice product for fans of the series and introducing new people. Like, it's not that difficult when you aren't constantly trying to criticize everyone around you to see why things are done or why they may have been done. But anyway, if we transition to the main gripe that he has in his video, is he's unable to retain viewers now because of these lengthier Let's Plays, saying that everybody's like died down from the hype. You're being hyperbolic. You're using your channel as a litmus test to the community as a whole. Because if you go on YouTube right now, you can see that Bruce Green has multiple Fallout videos from the past few days of playing Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 that have thousands of views on his YouTube channel. And he's not a YouTuber. He's a Twitch streamer and just uploads clips or VODs to YouTube that get pretty good attention. So because you're failing at maintaining an audience doesn't necessarily mean that the game itself is failing at maintaining an audience. Every other streamer that is able to either play multiple games in the same series consecutively or the same game for an extended period of time, whereas other people may have moved on, are able to do so because they have a personality that isn't dog shit like yours. Your personality is gutter trash, and that's why you have such a hard time at maintaining an actual audience. You rely so hard on games to prop up your business and your viewing experience that when it actually comes down to being reliant on you and having a personality and keeping people engaged, you're incapable of it, which is why you're mad at Bethesda. Rationally, it doesn't make sense to start criticizing Bethesda and their shortcomings because you're incapable to keep people interested. And again, this whole thing with the gaming community as a whole has been reprogrammed into wanting bite-sized things. Again, using your stream's shortcomings to make bigger statements about a community as a whole. It's 100% on you. Regardless of how some other streamers may run their content, if they are variety streamers and they play a game for a week and then they move on, they're able to do that because, again, they have a personality that people want to return to and see how they are in playing those games. Stop blaming everybody else for your problems. Either learn to adapt or learn how to cultivate an audience that allows you to play the games in the way that you want them to be played. Because again, all of the responsibility falls on you because it's your channel, you idiot.